Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
They've been going, and they're continuing to go, and it just nonstop going and going and going. And that's the impeachment thing. They're still debating it. They're arguing. They're fighting amongst themselves. At the end of the day, I want you guys to understand something, right? We goof around here on the Chad Benson show because it's fun, because we take stuff just serious enough to go, oh, yeah. And at the other time, we also try to give you a little bit different perspective. And I want you to step away from the world of red and blue. Democrat, Republican, Nadler, right? Collins, Matt Gaetz, and Adam Schiff. And I want you guys to step away from that and look at the individuals. Okay? Look at the individual person who's having to look inside themselves. Okay? Look at the individual person that's having to look inside themselves that has to vote for this.
I hope that we are able to work together to hold this president or any president accountable for breaking his most basic obligations to the country and to its citizens. And while you think about that choice, please keep in mind that one way or the other, President Trump will not be president forever. When his time is past, when his grip on our politics is gone, when our country returns, as surely it will, calmer times and stronger leadership, history will look back on our actions here today. How would you be remembered?
Well, they want to be remembered as somebody who is still there. I've always said that the president is what? He's a renter. That's what the president is. These people look at themselves as buyers. They're long-term. Trump's leasing, right? There's no option to buy. And I say this, and I want you guys to understand this, because too often I think we get caught up in the partisanship and the bigger side of things is my side, your side. But think of things as an individual thinks of it. Okay? This right here is Jeff Van Drew, who is one of the Democrats who's not going to vote for impeachment. And listen to what he says here.
If you vote for impeachment, because my district is red, a good chunk of it, and they're definitely anti-impeachment, and then I have part that is purple, and they are more pro-impeachment. So whatever you do, you are going to aggravate people.
Yeah. It's not about doing the right thing. It's about doing what's right for you. Every one of us makes decisions in our lives that's right for us. We're selfish in that nature, and that's okay. Right? It's easy to tell somebody, vote this way and do the thing that is selfless. And it may benefit me, and it may eventually hurt you. But ignore that part. We don't do that. We don't. We vote, we work, we do things in all of our lives for our best interest. It's a natural thing to do. It's easy to look at a politician and say, you should vote this way because look at what this person's done or that person's done or what this person's doing to the country. And you say, maybe inside, maybe I should. But at the same time, it's hard to look through some of this stuff because of the partisanship and the tribalism. And we can put that stuff out. That's a big part of it. But at the end of the day, the individual action is usually one of self-perseverance, right? I'm going to preserve my spot here. I don't want to lose this spot. You see the things that go on in politics? You see these things that go on in politics, and it's not just Trump being impeached. Take that out of the mix. Look how many things are wrong, how much money we waste. But because of lobbyists and because of situations where you get yourself on committees and people are throwing money at you and they're basically telling you, hey, I can make this easy for you, or we can find somebody else who will do the bidding that we need done. And this is both sides of the aisle, kids. It's self-preservation. Because you think, well, you know what? If I can get a few things through, if I can do a little thing here and a little thing there, it's better than nothing. And I like this, right? I like this. This is a good thing. I like this. I like being here. I mean, look, Say what you want, right? Pretty good working hours, right? A modicum of fame, good salary, lots of perks and benefits. It's not a bad gig. It's not. Eventually, you really learn to like it. It's about persevering, self-preservation. I'm going to keep myself here. I want to keep myself. I built my feet. And that's everywhere. I don't care if you work at a convenience store or you're the top of the heap. It's about your fiefdom. It's a reason that many politicians, right, don't lay down and say, this is it right here. I'm going to catch my breath, then I'm planting my flag, and this is the hill I'm going to die on, because there's a lot of things that should be changed. The amount of money we waste, the amount of time wasted, the fighting, the arguing. At the end of the day, each one of these people are going to vote, not their conscience, not what's right or wrong, not whether or not this is political or it isn't political, not whether or not Trump, is a jerk and a horrible person, but that's the reason we're doing this, not because of something real. I mean, the reason that they're going to vote the way they are is based on their world, and that's it. Bugs a lot of people to hear that. Well, that's not very... Well, no, I know. I get that. But that's the reality of it. The reality is, whether it's you, whether it's me, all of us have kept our mouth shut. All of us have said to ourselves, I don't like what they're doing here, but I like it here. I don't like that thing, but I like it here. Wife likes it. My husband likes it. My kids are happy here. My whatever it is, I'm willing to eat it, right? I'm willing to eat a little here and a little there. I'll try to make a difference elsewhere, but this is one of those things. That's what this is. So the screaming, the yelling, the fighting, the arguing, the showboating, all of that stuff is all theatrics. At the end of the day, each individual that votes for or against is doing it not based on what they believe, because you don't find out the truth in what any of these... For as much as Trump lies, they're lying the same. They do it in different ways. It's not big, it's not bold, it's not ridiculous, but it's all the same. They're doing what's best for them and their world. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Love hearing from you. I thought this to be very interesting with suicide prevention and what they're doing here. And the FCC, this is really an interesting thing that they're doing.
The FCC wants to add 988 as an emergency lifeline to all phones for anyone considering taking their own life.
An easy-to-remember three-digit number. They can reach trained counselors at the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline who could literally make the difference between life and death.
The FCC chairman, Ajit Pai, says the 988 suicide prevention proposal could take more than a year to become reality. In the meantime, 800-273-TALK still gets anyone to a live phone counselor.
I just like that. And in the convenient world that we live in, that is so, super convenient, right? Just that is, and that's where we are in this world, in this day and age. It's about convenience. Little things like that with technology. And I just thought, wow, why hasn't this been done before? Why isn't it? Don't know. Convenience, man. Convenience. I like convenience. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. 988. But see, here's a perfect example. This is an easy thing to say, 988. We should do something like this. Would be great. Now, hold on a second. It's got to go through this, and it's got to go through a committee, and these people have to vote on it, and this is going to have to happen, and we're going to make it happen. Should be that simple. Just make it happen. The Brits have spoken.
If the numbers from this exit poll hold, a large parliamentary majority for Boris Johnson will allow him to fulfill his plan to take the UK out of the European Union next month. The survey predicts his Conservatives will get around 368 of the 650 House of Commons seats, with the opposition Labour Party winning around 191. The poll's based on interviews with voters leaving 144 polling stations across the country.
Yep. So now It looks like he is going to win, which makes Trump happy because they're kind of pals. On top of that, he'll be able to exit Brexit, if you will, just finally be able to take them out of this. And it looked like it was going to be very, very close for a while. Ended up being kind of a landslide. Labor's really struggled, which is the liberal side of it. And now they're going to be able to leave the European Union, which is they've been trying to do for 3+ years now? It's insane. But this was like the third election in like 16 months. Could you imagine us doing that? Oh my God, we're struggling now. First of all, it's 3 years run up to our election, let alone 3 elections along the way. But he's going to be able to, Boris Johnson, to go tomorrow, because that's what he has to do. When all is said and done, he will have to go meet with the Queen tomorrow, because the only thing she can do or can't do is she still has to give her blessing, if you will, for him to be prime minister. And she's not going to go against the will of the people. So that'll be very interesting. But that's what he'll do in the morning. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. My Pillow. Guess what? What, Chad? I get more people around here. I heard you talking about My Pillow. Can you get me some My Pillows? I'm like, yeah, you can. All you have to do is go to the new radio listener special on mypillow.com. Use my code Benson and save big. Now, I had 2 people last night. So we had a Christmas holiday show, hoedown thingy that we did. And I had 2 people go, so are those towels really good? Because they've got towels now. I said, yeah. I said, they're like huge, right? They're massive and they're comfortable and it's just incredible. And you ever buy cheap towels and you're like, okay, I have to use 2, right? Like I have to kind of dry off, then I have to get another one. No, just one, super absorbent, boom, away it goes. And you can save big right now, 30% off, amazing, incredible towels. 5 different designer choices. They've got bath towels that are huge. You can get hand towels, washcloths, you name it. They've got 100% USA cotton, 60-day money-back guarantee, no fillers, no cheap softeners. They are beautiful. You're going to love them. Just go to mypillow.com, use the new radio listener special, and then use my code Benson. You're going to save up to 30% off. Boom. And again, 60-day money-back guarantee. They're putting their money where their mouth is. mypillow.com, new radio listener special, 30% off. Enter promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
Zealand police say the recovery attempt will go ahead, even though scientists believe another eruption on White Island is possible. Mark Inman is the brother of one of those missing.
It's not frustration that they can't get out to the island. It's more frustration that they haven't gone to the island. There's been 2 perfect opportunities to get out there, and they haven't gone. Red tape, bureaucracy, leadership has failed. We need them home.
The continuing volcanic activity cited for the delay. In addition to the bodies left on the island, dozens were severely burned by the blast of scalding steam and ash.
Yeah, and they're not getting any closer. People want closure. They want to get their loved ones back. It's awful, and the question still arises every hour. Is now they're finding out more and more that there was warnings. Why didn't the businesses that were doing this heed those warnings? Right? Why didn't it? Because people want to make money. Opportunity to go out there. Take a look at it. It's beautiful. And again, every once in a while, no matter what you do, right? Nature's going to mess you up. Doesn't matter what you do. But it's an ugly situation. And one of the other things is I know everybody wants to get loved ones back, and I'm sitting there reading about this, and they're showing pictures and stuff. They can't even see people because of the ash and everything. The people are underneath there, and some people, there may not be anything left of them. And that is just tough situation. Absolutely tough. And is it really active? That's the other thing, because I think they've raised the threat level now, because remember, it's 1 to 5, 5 being, the high level, and 1, and this was between a 1 and a 2, and they didn't tell anybody, and now they've raised it again. And what if it blows? And stay away. It's the best you can. That's the best you can do.
American Airlines is now wiping the Boeing 737 MAX off its schedule through the beginning of April, going beyond the other 2 U.S. airlines that own the MAX.
United and Southwest have canceled MAX flights until the beginning of March. American making the move after the head of the FAA said this week the MAX will not be approved to fly by the end of the year, as Boeing has been predicting. If the plane does remain grounded until April, that would be over a year that the MAX has been unable to fly passengers.
Yeah, I don't know what they do from here, because you read stuff that pilots talk about. They are upset. They don't trust. They also don't. Not only do they not trust Boeing, they're a little worried about what took place too with the FAA and how they kind of skirted these things and ignored some of these things, allowed these things to get through. There are some serious issues here. And Boeing, this is one of those things where this is a decade of struggle that they're going to be facing. An absolute massive decade of struggle that is going to bite them in the ass. And while cutting corners or whatever it was, or not listening, it's cost them big time. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. Getting closer to a deal, trade deal with China. Preliminary one is getting close, not the full one. And this is another one of those things where it's a win for Trump. Now, today, Mitch McConnell said the USMCA isn't going to get done until after the entire situation is over and done with when it comes to impeachment. But they're getting some stuff, a little thing here and a little thing done there. And the trade will be interesting because Trump's saying, okay, maybe we're not going to do any of these tariffs, put more on, but you guys got to promise you're going to buy some more stuff from us and actually do it this time, and not say, yeah, we'll buy some stuff from your farmers and then not do it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Swing state, Wisconsin. Some poll numbers are in. Surprise some people for sure. Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
It's a little hard to believe that Burisma hired Hunter Biden to resolve their international disputes when he could not resolve his own dispute with Hertz rental car over leaving cocaine and a crack pipe in the car.
I would say that the pot calling the kettle black is not something that we should do.
That's what you're getting today. That's the crap you're getting. I was just telling producer Phil, because all of them yelled. That was Matt Gaetz right there, and then Hank Johnson came back and fired him because, yes, Hunter Biden had some substance abuse problems. I don't wish that upon anybody, and he's talked about it in the past, and I don't know what this has to do with anything. Well, it has to do with Burisma. Okay, again, just I'm bored with that. Let's just stay in one area, and Hank Johnson threw that back in his face because he's had some issues too, Matt Gaetz, including an arrest for DUI, which I think was the charges were dropped. But that's the silliness. And I was telling Phil, I said, they all yell. And I said, it reminds me of people who go to another country, right? And you're there and you want to ask them, like, how much for the cheese? And then they're like, huh? And then you yell, you get louder. Like, that helps. Like, that doesn't help. And getting louder, again, it's not helping anybody. It's just stupid. It really is. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Trump today, a new poll out, says that he leads in 3 key states. Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, or absolute must. And there he is, leading. And you're like, wait, what? Pennsylvania, Wisconsin? He's leading? But there's no way, because this was the year. This was the year that he has to fall. No. And on top of that, he looks like he's a front runner in Michigan as well. So you're thinking, oh. So Wisconsin's done a really big poll here, and it's very interesting what they talk about when it comes to the poll itself. And guess what, kids? It's the numbers.
40% say he should be impeached and removed. 52% don't think so.
So if you're a person who's in these states and you're running for re-election and you're hearing 52, and that's 10 more than the 40. So, whoa. That's a big number. You think about that, right? Some of the other stuff they talk about, which was the Ukraine and whether or not he did or didn't do something, POTUS.
52%, a bare majority, believe the president did ask for the Ukrainians to investigate. 29% think he didn't, and 18% don't know.
Because they don't care. Don't know is usually, I don't care. And that's something to pay attention to, because who's actually paying attention to any of these things? Remember, it's always about the independents, right?
Partisans are moderately engaged by this, and a third of both partisan camps are quite engaged by the impeachment hearings. But independents really have not been drawn into that engagement.
No, they're not. And this is the thing about independents, too. I tell everybody, it has nothing to do in the independent world of when they go to vote next year, because Mitch McConnell's already said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to acquit him. We know that. And the battle is become from a few people who want to have the charges dismissed, where Mitch wants to do the whole thing, but he's going to hold it in a very sterile, quick environment that includes no more new people being called to testify at all. We got the information. We're going to go through it, and then we're going to vote within 10 to 14 days, and we're going to acquit him, and we're going to move on. And, Trump wants pomp and circumstance and embarrass people, but I think this one, Mitch is going to win. But the independents, at the end of the day, are going to vote with their pocketbook. They're going to walk in there, and every fiber of their being, as far as who he is as a person, is going to say, ugh. And then they're going to go, but the economy's good. Click, and we move on. I was talking to an independent earlier who was very independent and gave me all the reasons why the Republicans were in the wrong here, why Trump's in the wrong here, and all of that stuff, and readily admitted, you know what? The Democrats are definitely overreach, and if it wasn't for him being Trump, we'd probably never got to anywhere near this, because nobody would have cared. But he goes, but at the end of the day, if I'm seeing the stock market rising in the 30s and unemployment at 50%, and I'm hearing other people on the other side talking about taxing the hell out of us and doing all of these things, I'm sorry. At the end of the day, I'm going in that direction still. Uncomfortable? Yes. Truthful? Absolutely. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Love hearing from you. It is a brand new television show. And Jillian Michaels said it right. So far today, I've called her Jillian Anderson, Jillian Barbary, but her name is Jillian Michaels, has come out, and she got, usual, as you usually do when you speak some truth into something in this day and age. She got kind of destroyed for saying, look, this whole body positivity thing we're over doing it, right? People who are morbidly obese, and we're cheering them on, and it's not good. It's not good for them. It's not good for society. It's not. Let's be real. And look what we have on television, too. We've also turned these things into, hey, we got my 600-pound wife and girlfriend or life or whatever the hell it is, and now we've got something called hot and heavy.
This season on Hot and Heavy, my mom told me that it would be difficult to find love if I was heavy.
I'm actually nervous.
I always had this idea that, I didn't deserve love because of what I looked like.
329.4.
I think every girl hopes they're going to get a hunky husband, so I totally hit the jackpot.
Yeah, and these are about guys who are totally into bigger girls. And we're not talking bigger girls, right? Guys like curves, right? Like curves are great. This is past curves, right? Like this is sweat in the cold, can't tie your own shoe, you know, have trouble breathing, like going up a curb. That's what this is. And it's nuts. It is. It's crazy. And I'm like, God, this is what we do. Like this is where we are now. We've turned these things into entertainment. No wonder they reboot crap. If this is what else, I'd rather see them do Home Alone 7 reboot than this. And it just feels like, hey, we're going to take this, and these guys are fairly good-looking guys, and their friends are trying to get them to date, you know, the thin people or normal people or whatever it is, aesthetically pleasing individuals. But it's just, and some of these girls are huge. I mean, huge. They've nutritionally overachieved like you can't believe. Like there's one, you know, and they're not on normal scales. They're not, like when they're showing their weights, they don't get on a normal scale. They don't have that. They have to go to a special place and the scale will like stop showing numbers, start showing things that you weigh as much as. And I'm like, but like we're celebrating that. And she came out and said, no, you shouldn't celebrate that. And I'm like, she's right. But as Americans, we've become comfortable with like being a little bit overweight. I hate it. Right? I mean, you know, when I like 4 years ago, I was going through crap. I was building the show. We're doing all this stuff. I stopped working out. I put on way too much weight. Since lost a ton of it. Playing soccer every day. I stopped playing soccer. I stopped working out. I stopped doing a lot of things. And I tell you what, it wasn't good for me. It's not good for you. But the positive movement and then stuff like this makes people think, see, look, anybody could do it. Oh.
I absolutely love Kristen's size. I wouldn't mind if she was a little bit bigger.
Adriana is the hottest woman I've ever seen in my life.
You look so manly.
How do I look?
You look amazing.
She doesn't. She comes in this outfit, and the first thing I thought of, she looks like a house that's been tented. You know, like 'cause you got bugs in there and you tent the house. Chad, that's not very, no, it's true. Like somebody needs to tell you, this isn't healthy. And they're talking about have kids. Have kids? What happens? You not like your kid? Well, yeah, I do. It's just, well, what happens when you drop dead? It's just not healthy. And I get being positive in certain things. And there are people out there that have problems, but there's just so much of this is it's just sad, you know? And then television, that's what we're watching. It's the same thing I was talking about with Dave Ramsey, right? If you ever listen to the Dave Ramsey show. Like, people listen to the Dave Ramsey show because they want a little hope and then get out of debt, but they also want to know that other people's lives suck worse than they do. Like, oh my God, we're only $40,000 in debt. They're like $300,000 in debt and a $32,000, income. They want to know that. And people watch this because they want to think, oh, there's hope for me. And at the same time, well, I'm not that bad. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet, text, love, hate, your weight, whatever it is. It's all good. Chad, that's not very nice. I'm just saying you can do it if you want to. You can. Still going on. It's the never-ending thing. They still going on? Yeah. A football game on tonight. I'm going to watch that instead. There's only so much I can take. I still produce. Feels like, how long is this thing going on? Forever. Forever. They're never going to stop. That's the beauty of what's going on now. None of that. They're never going to stop impeaching. And another Democrat, by the way, came out today and said that it doesn't matter what happens in here, and even if he wins in 2020, they're going to continue to impeach. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. All right. Check this out. AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens. What do? They give big time to you. Like a membership for free. Fastest growing organization over 50 in America. So if you're 50 and over, boom, this is it. You can join for free. It's 1 year. It's on me. Amazing benefits that include retail, restaurant, hotel discounts, and so much more. Plus, they're out there actively talking to politicians, making sure that, you know what, that they stay away from stuff that would impact you financially in a bad way. and take care of the things they need to, like making sure Social Security and Medicare are solvent. Yeah, like they have money and stuff in it in the future. It's a great organization with great benefits, and you can join for free right now. Go to amac.us/Chad. That's amac.us/Chad, or call 888-355-1617. That's 888-355-1617. It's 1 year. It's free. It's on me. amac.us/Chad. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Experiencing separation anxiety? That's dumb. Check out Chad 24/7 at his website, ChadBensonShow.com, and on iTunes, free. The Chad Benson Show. Never feel lonely again.
Need to share some news. Survivor host Jeff Probst telling the remaining Survivor contestants that Dan Spilo had been kicked off the show by producers. First time that's happened in 39 seasons. He's gone. They didn't go into detail why, only putting up a title card at the end of Wednesday night's episode saying, quote, Dan was removed from the game after a report of another incident which happened off camera and did not involve a player. Earlier in the season, Spilo had been accused of inappropriately touching two female contestants. He apologized, but was allowed to remain on the island.
Now he's been super double, triple voted off because he is a douche. What do people, I don't know. I just, again, I always wonder. And sometimes things can be like misinterpreted. We get that, right? That happens. But sometimes you're like, okay, maybe the first time, but we're working on the third. I think at this point in time, it might be you. It might be you. It might be. I'm just saying, it might be you. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Don't feed them.
All around L.A. County, efforts are underway to deal with a growing homeless problem. Now, leaders in the city of Lancaster are considering a ban on giving food to homeless on public streets, sidewalks, and parking lots. But those who feed the homeless say it would be unfair.
It's not only punitive against the hungry, it's even punitive against the people trying to help the homeless.
A city council meeting got heated, speaker after speaker defending the homeless.
Don't penalize my people for going to feed people.
A committee will work on the proposal.
But this is part of the problem with California, New York, and a lot of other places is, I mean, you know, in Portland right now, they're talking about new residences, potentially, but definitely new commercial buildings, have areas for people to rest and to camp who are without shelter. Because they're like, well, we have a housing problem. No, you don't. You've got a problem of, in many cases, and I would say 85 to 90% of them, of mental illness and drug abuse. It's not home problem. It's not, there's not enough livable, affordable house. It's not that. It's not. It is you allow this to continue. And businesses, they don't want it around. And I don't blame them. People are frustrated because they're looking at all the money that these, you know, I mean, you look across, like, Bloomberg was out in California. He's like, I'm going to take on poverty. And like, all right, here we go. Right? So that's what he's going to have, a war on poverty. Well, that doesn't work. Right? We had a war on drugs. It doesn't work. Right? I just remember Mother Teresa said once that they invited her to come to a march against war. She says, I won't. She goes, but when you guys have a peace march, let me know. Right? It's a change. You guys are trying to fix stuff and you're doing it in a very just a half-ass, trying to be a people of, I want to be kind and compassionate, but I also want to make sure that it's government run, and I also want to make sure that there's a lot. No. Just accept the fact that you've got problems with mental illness and drugs and deal with it the right way. Because what you're doing, the amount of money that, like, Los Angeles is pouring in to they're $1 billion+ they can't even build we have a homeless shelter problem and we need homes and affordability. And then they go and build condos that people aren't even in yet that cost $700,000 per condo. In an area where the average person who's buying a home, the house is $550,000. So you're giving a homeless person a house that a person who's working their ass off can't afford, and they're not going to appreciate because most of them don't want to be in those situations because they want to do drugs and and they're mentally ill. It's insane. But we just keep looking, right? It's like somebody gets shot and they're like, "Do you think he's got to hang now?" And it's like screaming, "Ah!" No. Twisted his ankle? God, no. Oh, I know. What do you got a headache? Just ignore it. And you're going to find out what happens. It's going to bleed out. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Now they're talking about a cruise ship. Did you see that in Oakland? One of the cruise ships is going to dock there and potentially allow them to house homeless people. Yeah, check that out, huh? Fantastic. The SS Hepatitis B? Who would like that? Anyone? Who's paying for it? People who have homes and who work hard and understand that what you're doing is not working. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
This amendment strikes the reference to Joe Biden as the center of the proposed investigation and replaces it with the true topic of the investigation, Burisma and Hunter Biden.
I was telling the guys, I'm like, I don't think I could do this. I don't think I could be a politician. I'd be tweeting out, bored as AF. When are these people going to shut up? You guys tried that new Impossible Burger yet? I don't. It's amazing. I'm sitting here. It's like, what hasn't been said yet? That's my thing. Like, I'm looking around going, I feel like we've kind of heard everything there is to hear. I don't feel like we're not getting anywhere new. I feel like as you guys are all talking that it kind of feels like you said it all. It's like going to see a band. And at first you're kind of excited, and then you're like, and they keep playing this. I went and saw a concert it was a reggae concert. I saw Oswald. Great, entertaining. They had another band on before. They had one song. And I know, like, a lot of reggae feels like that. It's the same song, kind of. But it just, like, after a while, you're like, I think we've heard this one again. We don't have to go. We're going to have to leave now. That's what it is. It's like, how long is this? Is this forever? It feels like it's forever. And they're not saying anything new. Matt Gaetz, it's all about Burisma and Hunter. You know what's going to catch Hunter Biden? At least if people want to know the dollar bills amount that people are talking about. Do you want to know what's going to catch him? Is the paternity suit, and he's got to pay some money, and there may be some serious issues here where he's going to have to foreclose the dollar bill amount. But it doesn't matter. None of it matters. Well, it does matter, Chad, because Hunter Biden was and the thing. I'm like, no, if you look at it in the real way, which you can't because of all the partisanship, we don't look at anything real anymore. We're just, oh my God, I believe this, and that guy said this, and she said that, so I got to believe it because I identify with that. But it doesn't matter. But I feel like there's only. This is it. There's only so much we could talk about, and we've talked it through. And I know we're supposed to have debates, but we're no longer this person will say something, and you're like, oh, I'm going to say the exact same thing you did, but I'm going to say it louder, and then she's going to say something the opposite, and then another person is going to come and say the same thing she did, but he's going to say it louder. Like, we're not finding out anything else. Do we need this stuff? At least if it goes to the Senate, it's going to be like All right, with some new actors and maybe fresh, kind of like a fresh voice, people new spin on it, right? I mean, we know what the outcome's going to be, right? Because Mitch McConnell's already told everybody. He was telling people today, yeah, this is what we're going to do. We're doing this. We're gonna acquit him. We're not going to vote to dismiss the charges. We're going to have a 10-day, maybe a 2-week at the absolute most. Like start on a Monday, and then we'll vote 2 Mondays from now. But we're just and we're not going to call nobody new. It's not going to be anything else. No subpoena, nothing, nobody else. We're just going to take all the information these yahoos have given us, and we're going to vote on it, and then we're all going to move on with our lives. And we're going to acquit him. And he believes, and I think there are some cracks starting to appear, that there's going to be a few that are going to, I don't want to say defect, but to vote essentially, no, we're not going to go with this. Just like they did with Clinton. And again, a lot of it's what? It's based on whether or not you can CYA yourself and keep your job. That's the reality of it. People want to keep their jobs. Everybody's in it for what? They're in it for themselves. They can say, I'm here for the people. They can, and they may be. But when it comes to keeping their job, when it comes to doing that situation of which you have to do that could put your job in jeopardy, you're going to err on the side of, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep my job.
If you vote for impeachment, because my district is red, a good chunk of it, and they're definitely anti-impeachment, and then I have part that is purple, and they are more pro-impeachment. So whatever you do, you are going to aggravate people.
Yeah. And Chef Ranju. And he's been one of the few people that have been out there that have said, hey, look, you know what? I get it, right? I get it. You have other people that are now starting to say, well, I want to look at some stuff because they're worried, because they've gotten accustomed and used to this position that they're in. And all of us are going to do what's best for us, for our family, for our lives. We all are. We all want to think, oh, we did the right thing, man. I'd fall on that grenade. I'm like, I don't really know. I'd push you on the grenade. No, but we all want to think that we're going to do the right thing. Like, that we're going to go in there and we're going to listen to it and we're going to take it in for real and we're going to just soak it up and we're going to listen and then we're going to vote our conscience and what we think is the right thing based on the information and stuff. And just when you get ready to say that you're going to do that, you think to yourself, well, you know, I got a wife and a kid and a mortgage, and I like this, and, you know, a lot of the stuff's kind of fun, and you know, I like having a little bit of this, and I think I can really do some stuff that is good for the people, but the reality is you know, if I do this, this is it. I'm going to get primaried, I'm going to, you know, or I'm going to lose an election, and I'm taking everything in, and at the end of the day, you say to yourself, well, what's best for me? And that's life. And that's every single person. It's me, it's you, it's everybody. Self-preservation. I'm preserving myself, preserving my status. I'm preserving my livelihood. I'm preserving, that's it. And that's why we have so many things that you see out there in the world of politics that you're like, why do we still do these things? Because people know when you take certain things on, it is political suicide. And at the end of the day, people will always err on what's best for me. Every once in a while, you'll get somebody that'll do it, but very rarely. Very, very rarely. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. You could tweet at me. With all of that going on, Britain had like their 95th election in like 3 hours. It just seems to never end there.
368 seats to him. The opposition have only got 191. That is a majority of 86 members of parliament for Boris Johnson. President Trump will be very happy with that result. He's friends with Boris, and we can now expect Boris will be on the way to see the Queen in the morning when the final results are made.
And the Queen will look at him and say, Boris, I do not like your haircut, but there's nothing I can do about that. But, of course, the people have spoken, and because of that, can you do anything about Andrew? Because he was caught diddling and doing stuff he shouldn't for that awful individual. Yes, you could still be Prime Minister. And that's what that'll sound like. Because she still has kind of the final say. You have to go to her. You've been summoned to the palace. You have tea. And the Queen will be like, it's a formality. And in theory, she could say no, but she's not going to go against the people. So he'll be there. And it was supposed to be Nick and Tuck. The polls showed, it's going to be really close, and Labor was gaining, and then it turned out to be an ass whooping. And now, maybe they'll get out of Europe. Maybe. We're like 3-4 years in the making. Think about this, though. One of the things Labor talked about, and that is the liberal side. So you got Labor, and then the Tories are the conservatives. So the Labor Party, or the liberal side, Jeremy Corbyn, he was talking about nationalizing more things, but he's also talking about we're going to hold another referendum about Brexit. Now think about this. They've never exited. The people voted for it, and they're thinking about re-voting for it again, having never actually gone through with it. And a lot of people thought, well, hold on a second. While maybe I've changed my mind, the reality is people did speak, and you guys never finished it off. And you would be taking votes and telling them what. So Trump has a friend. And it was and here's something that last week when Trump was over there with NATO and, all the cool kids were making fun of him, Boris didn't really meet with Trump. And one of the reasons was he took a lesson from what took place with Barack Obama when it came to Brexit. When he was there, the British took it as a threat when he said, you guys are going to go to the back of the line if you don't vote to stay in Europe, because Europe will have first crack at trade, and you guys will get basically what's left. And the British are like, nuh-uh, mate, I don't take that too kindly. And so Boris kind of stayed away from Trump as I'm going to take a lesson and because I don't want Trump to get involved. And Trump said, look, they vote, they do their thing. Because I think the Brit, like a lot of people, right? It's like a kid with a toy. Kid doesn't play with a toy for a year. And then somebody goes over and grabs the toy, and the kid's like, that's my toy. I want it. Do the opposite. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Love hearing from you. Let's find out what's trending straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
I, you, he, she, it. Lucy is a girl.
Point of personal privilege, please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
Shut up, boo. Ain't nobody got time for that.
This is the Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Oh, lots of stuff's trending. Plenty of it. Let's start first and foremost with the magical world of Google. I like this, some interesting stuff here. You ready for this, kids? Matrix 4. Keanu Reeves is going to be the Matrix 4, as well as John Wick 4, and they decided, hey, why not release them both on the same day? Yeah, that's trending. President's Cup, golf, day 2, the Down Under, and that's going on. On top of that, Monica Ruiz, you don't know who she is, but she was the actress that was the Peloton lady, and She says she blames her face for the ad. I'm like, what? Yeah, she says she blames her face. So, again, she blames her face. Whatever. It's just silly. Peloton's getting crushed. And here's the thing. Peloton's getting crushed in a very weird way. They're getting crushed, but part of it is because so many people were drawn to all of what was going on. They started to take a dive because of the negativity, and then people started looking at other investors saying, well, hold on a second. You guys aren't doing anything. You have first mover advantage, but you have a bike and some hardware. Anybody can do that. And there's other people that are doing it cheaper. So they're really getting crushed. Let's head on over to the magical world of Twitter. America's Samoa and Guam why is that tweeting? Well, America's Samoa today said in court, they went to court in Utah and said, look, we what are we? And they won. They're U.S. citizens because they're a territory. But unlike Guam and Puerto Rico and a few others, they could not vote or any of the other things. And a judge says, nope, you guys are American citizens. Here's something for you. Make everybody uncomfortable. 22nd Amendment. What? Apparently Mike Huckabee is going to talk about tonight how Trump may be eligible for a third term due to an illegal attempt by Comey and the Dems as well as the media to oust him. That is why he says he's heading up the 2024 election. Oh, God. Now, to be honest, I hope not. I'm a 6-year guy. I am. I'm a 6-year guy, and this is the way I would do it if I got to run my little fiefdom, which you don't. But if I got to run my little fiefdom, I would do a 6-year term, and the new incoming person would be voted in a year before and start to be phased in along the way while you're phased out. And that way you don't have to run for re-election. You get 6 years. And if somebody dies in there or whatever, you have vice president and everything else. But I think it would be that's so much easier. You get 6 straight years. You're not running for re-election, right? That's just, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. You're there one time. You can just go. There's no political, you're not a lame duck. And at the same time, you could still be true to yourself and what you think is right without the repercussions of being voted out. And but you get one shot. You get 6 years. 6 years. That's it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. AV Dude tweeted at me. At Chad Benson Show, kind of sad your understanding of the homeless situation in America. I wasn't talking about all of America. I was talking about places like San Francisco, right? San Diego, Los Angeles, New York. New York is shipping their homeless to other states. California, it's a mess. Seattle, a mess. It's a disaster. And growing up in Los Angeles and seeing some of the places I used to live and what it's like now, I have a full understanding of what's going on down there. I'm not talking about a person who's struggling to get back on their feet. I'm not talking about any of that. But look at California, the disaster that it's become and the amount of money they spend. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Oh, let's not forget Portland as well. Tweet at us, text the program as well. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The president has decided to wrap his arms around impeachment as a campaign tactic. The campaign has used it quite effectively when it comes to raising money and things like that. Look, the polling, he's not adding any new people, but he certainly is increasing the intensity of his support. It feels like they have fought this to a political draw.
Yeah, and that's a win, right? So if this was a boxing match, right? So this is a heavyweight championship of the world, right? Ding, 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 ding. And it's a draw. The champion is still the champion. Oh, yeah. And I'll say, I think he's actually done quite well. I think he's used it quite well. Not only just raising money, but dragging people through the mud, getting people to fight, showing everybody, look at all of this stuff. Look how crazy they are. You had a second Democrat come out yesterday and says this impeachment fight's not over, and it won't be over even if he wins again in 2020 because we're going to come again. You're like, that right there continues to strengthen. So it's not over in the sense of tomorrow or Monday they'll vote on it and it goes to the Senate. It's not. It's going to be over quick in the Senate, though. Mitch McConnell has made that pretty clear. A few unnamed Republicans in the Senate have said there was two processes of which they were looking at doing. One was just a simple dismissal of charges, meaning he wasn't acquitted because the charges were just dropped essentially and dismissed. But Mitch wants a quick hearing to the point where the way that they're going to do this is no more than 2 weeks or 10 days worth of hearings. And there's going to be probably no new witnesses or anybody called. What they have is what they have. They're going to go with it. They're going to vote on it. He's already said, discussed it with everybody. The vote is there to, not even have any worry of him being removed from office. And then he'll be acquitted. Trump wants something bigger. He wants grandiose, right? Because that's Trump. Like, Trump likes that stuff. Trump likes to stir the pot. He enjoys stirring the pot. He does. And he wants that. But, Mitch McConnell's going to say, no, we're not going to do this. There's no reason for us to do this. And we're going to move on with it. We know what the outcome's going to be. And don't put you're in a position right now where your base is with you. The independents are kind of bored with all of this. They're not paying attention. People are Christmas shopping and this, that, and the other. They're going to be coming back in the New Year's. Don't put yourself in a position where you look like you're just trying to get back at people, because that's not going to help you. Let's just get this over and done with it. Make it look like they politically overstepped and we move on with our lives. Speaking of stirring the pot.
President Trump this morning on Twitter attacking 16-year-old climate change activist Greta Thunberg, saying she, quote, must work on her anger management problem, adding, quote, chill, Greta, chill. Thunberg was named Time Magazine's 2019 Person of the Year. She's been very vocal about her diagnosis of Asperger's, comparing it to a superpower. This isn't the first time President Trump has targeted Thunberg. He posted a sarcastic tweet in September during the UN General Assembly after she was critical of world leaders for inaction on the climate.
Here's my thing. And I said yesterday, because we got in trouble yesterday with the Thunberg thing, and which we didn't know we did anything wrong, and we didn't really, and it was stupid, and it was a picture that we didn't even come up with, and she was on the cover of Time magazine, and it is what it is. So, and I say, look, I admire her. I think she's got cojones, she's got oomph, she's got all of those things. The Asperger's things, look, your family wrote book about you and Asperger's and the whole 9 yards. And great that you call it your superpower. But you've put yourself in a position where you've made yourself part of the public eye, right? And because you're part of the public eye, and the fact that you go around and you tell everybody how awful they are and how it's everybody else's fault and how dare you and all, I sit there and I'm just like, But where I feel, and I said it yesterday, sad, is you're being used. Right? David Hogg and them were being used. Why? Because you're kids. Today people are coming after Trump. How dare you do something like this? How dare you do that? Why? She wanted to make her. She is now accepted that she's in the public eye. She's now accepted those things. Do I think it's wrong that people go after her? At this point in time, you're going after people. You're saying things about the other generation and this generation and my generation, and you're damning everybody to hell, and we're all going to die, and how dare us, and we've ruined your life. You know, it gets a little old, right? But the movement itself loves you because they feel like her superpower isn't Asperger's. It's youth. That's her superpower. Because if you say anything, people come after you. You can't, right? Go after David Hogg for saying something, or even joke about something, or, whoa, you're in trouble now. Oh, yeah. Well, they're only 16. There are TV actors and rappers and all kinds of people. They're young, and they say all kinds of stupid things, and they're under the age of, say, 18. If you say something about that, nobody cares. It's because the movement is using them. Right? They're using them because they like the fact that, hey, this person right here is going to be able to do a lot of things without the pushback, and any pushback that comes is going to get people attacking the person who's pushing back. And when you go out there and you damn everybody and you want to make over the economics of the world, and we're going to turn it over to a 16-year-old, at some point in time, and you want to be this face of everything, you're going to have to take the criticism. You get all the plaudits. Everybody loves you. But you're going to have to take some criticism. And some of it's unwarranted. Some of it's asinine and stupid, but that's everybody. I don't care who you are, right? Even some of the criticism of some of the stuff Trump says is asinine and unwarranted because it's just stupid and people are nitpicking. But the reality is when you become somebody who's in the public eye and this is what you're doing and you're embracing this, you're going to get it. But understand the movement itself is enjoying it. You get to 18 or 19, maybe looking for somebody who's 12. Right? It's the same thing with David Hogg. You got to 18. Nobody really cares now. You're an adult. Not a kid. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Speaking of kids, so Bette Midler, you guys remember her? She was a star. She's a boomer. She's an okay boomer. Was pissed about kids and their phones, museums.
Bette Midler is getting shaded after she seemingly threw shade herself at some young girls. And she tweeted this picture of 3 girls on their phones at a museum and asked, what's wrong with this picture? Well, one person fired back saying, seriously? This is literally how OK Boomer was born. I was on my phone at the Prado in Madrid learning more about the paintings and artists. I'm glad no one tried to shame me. Another person kind of agreed with Midler, saying, I work with young ladies and men who are always on their phones. No shaming, just the sad reality of the younger generation.
You know what, though? It's not the younger generation. It's the older generation. A couple weeks ago, so Jack and I were having like a breakfast thing, and there's an older couple there. She's got a book. He's got a newspaper. Neither of them are looking at each other or talking. And I've seen that play out 1,000 times before, right? Yeah, do kids spend a lot of time tethered to their phones? It's why? Because that's the world that we live in. But, some of the other things that she maybe never thought of is these museums who are trying to get a younger group and demographic to come in, they're turning to technology to what? To get the younger generation, but also to teach them about said stuff that they're looking at. They're not walking around with the headphones and the little Walkman where they could push play and they could go from painting to painting. We don't have to do that now.
And one more person pointed out that the photo came out a few years ago and the girls were actually reading about the paintings. Yet one more person replied, even if they were not. So what? We need to learn to let people be if they aren't causing any harm.
Yeah. No, but we can't. There's where the OK Boomer comes in. And I look at that and I say, yeah, it's crazy. Because I see a lot of people, even last night, so we're at the Christmas party and we're hanging out, and the younger generations, they're taking, hey, Jack, come take a picture, because you had the Santa suit on, so I go take a picture over here, take a picture, and they're tweeting out, and they're like, oh, look at the kids tweeting and doing these kind of things, and I'm like, yes, that's what you're supposed to do. That's what they do. We would have done the same thing if we had the opportunity to do it. We didn't. So instead, we rode our bikes, we played some video games that cost $0.25, and we played outside a little bit more. But if we had the chance, we always act like our generation, whether it's Gen X, the baby boomers or whatever, you go back to the greatest generation, right? There wouldn't have been a world war if there was all the video games, because just like people say, it's going to be a civil war. Only if it's an app. That's what it's happening. But we'd all done the same thing if we had the chance. We didn't have the chance. We didn't. We didn't have the chance. And now, as adults, in our 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, we do a lot of the same things, and we just bitch that they're doing it. They're just better at it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Speaking of a younger, cooler, hipper thing, I don't know much how younger or cooler will make you, but I'll tell you what, the hipness is real. Raycons, amazing. This holiday season, you're looking around for, people are like, well, I got to get some cool headphones or something like that. Now get earbuds. Get these Raycons. These things are amazing. The new E25s, brand new. 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing. Tons of bass, compact design, and a noise-isolating fit you love. Very stylish. And there's no wires or stems or any of those things. It's great. And as I've talked about this, I'm telling you guys, go look at these things and see the people that Ray J's worked with when he's put these things together. And he took them to the people who get music and sound, like Snoop Dogg and Cardi B, and said, listen to these things. What do you think of these things? And they're like, love them. And you will too. And the price, amazing. Amazing. About a third to a half of what these other super duper uber priced ones are. And you're going to save even more. And it's simple. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. That's buyraycon.com/Chad. Save yourself 15% right there. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
ABC has tapped some of the biggest stars in the business for its live one-night-only revival of Good Times. Dynamite! Viola Davis and Andre Braugher, who play Florida, and James Evans, also joining the cast, Tiffany Haddish, Jay Farrow, and what we're told will be a show-stopping musical performance from Anthony Anderson and Patti LaBelle. Good Times will be performed live along with an episode of All in the Family next Wednesday night.
Yeah, I might watch that. I loved Good Times. I still, it'll be on every once in a while. I'll flip around. I'll see like some of those old shows. Like last night, I got home late. I got to my room. So, and I'm going through like stories and reading and doing a bunch of stuff. And there was an old Carol Burnett show on, and I just love watching it. With Tim Conway and Harvey Korman, just to watch them make each other laugh, because that's all it was, right? You listen to Tim Conway Jr. and he'll tell you, on his show, on his radio show, which is an awesome show. He'll tell you all the time. It's like a lot of it was just, can they make each other laugh? Because I figure if we can make each other laugh, we'll make other people laugh. But this is an interesting thing. I saw bits of the first one when they did the Jeffersons. I saw the Jeffersons and I thought it was pretty interesting. With Jamie Foxx, I thought it was pretty interesting. So I might watch this one. I liked Good Times as a kid. Right? You can't like it, Chad. That's cultural appropriation. Well, whatever it was entertainment, and I enjoyed it. So shut up. Money. Baseball's got a lot of it, and they're handing it out left, right, and center.
The Yankees pulling the biggest free agent off the market by signing Garrett Cole, 9 years, $324 million. What do you think?
I think we saw this coming. The Yankees had chased Garrett Cole since he was a high school senior, drafted him then. They have tried to trade for him when the Astros got him, and they finally got their man. This is who the Yankees are, and it's a great time for them to strike.
Yeah. So they got him, and then yesterday, your buddy out there, Phil Washington, Rendon, is now an Angel. They signed him to big money. But Garrett Cole, huge money. How much? Well, let's talk about it. $36 million per season. After 5 years, I believe he can opt out of the contract, because 5 years from now, $36 million may be a bargain, and he may want more. So here it is. Again, they drafted him. They couldn't sign him. Then he went to Houston, and they made a huge deal to the Pirates, and the Pirates said no. They traded him to Houston. Now, finally, they've got him. Based on his 2019 stats, so this is everything he did last year. 2019, $109 million to start, $108 million per win, $110,429 per strikeout, $169,731 per inning, and this should make everybody feel good. $9,200 per pitch. So they say, imagine being able to buy a massive home every time you pitch. Every time you pitch. Imagine that. That's great. But why don't people bitch about that? Right? Because they bitch about everything else, like CEO pay. And so they broke down him compared to other athletes. By the way, other athletes, Canelo Alvarez this year, boxer, made $92 million. Lionel Messi, $92 million. And Lionel and Ronaldo made more money outside of, those are just their salaries. Lewis Hamilton, F1, $45 million. So, $36 million, like, oh my God, it's $36 million. But when you look at a lot of the other ones, it's not the biggest. But then you get down to CEOs. This is what I found interesting. So Netflix, CEO, Reed Hastings, makes $36 million a year. Chipotle, Brian Nicole, $33 million. Those are pretty big numbers. Then you get to, PayPal, $37 million for Schulman. But then you get to a few other ones. So Bob Iger, Disney, $65 million. David M. Zaslav, Discovery, made $129 million. Oh, and then there's this guy named Elon Musk. Do you want to know what he pulled in last year? $2.2 billion. Oh, goodness me. That's Bernie's dream right there. Going after that. I got to get that guy. He's going to get him. Speaking of money, how about this?
It's known as the Beverly Hillbillies Mansion because it's the home shown in the credits of the classic TV sitcom. It is a massive estate, and now it's apparently set a new California sales record, selling for reportedly about $150 million. Sources are telling the LA Times a deal is done. At one point, it was priced at $350 million. It's 25,000 square feet. The home sits on 10 acres of prime real estate. Also part of the deal, the former home of President Reagan and wife Nancy, which is behind the main gate.
Yeah, it's a small house. It's throwaway. By the way, the person that bought it, Rupert Murdoch's son. Yeah, $150 million for a house? Well, it's $300 million. It's good. It's a good house. It's probably going to tear it down and rebuild something else. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. So Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I hope that we are able to work together to hold this president or any president accountable for breaking his most basic obligations to the country and to its citizens. And while you think about that choice, please keep in mind that one way or the other, President Trump will not be president forever. When his time is past, when his grip on our politics is gone, when our country returns, as surely it will, calmer times and stronger leadership, history will look back on our actions here today. How would you be remembered?
Well, their goal is to still be there. That's the whole point. And so they'll be remembered as people that are still there even when he's gone. Because they vote against him, they'll be gone. And they'll be remembered as the people who voted against him in a Wikipedia page. Outside of that, they won't be remembered as anything else. That's it. In fact, you've got several Democrats now that are making noise like, maybe we should do something else. Maybe there is another way. Maybe why? Because they're scared. They're scared because they're in districts that either Trump won or is favored to win, and they're Democrats, and they're looking around saying, well, if I vote and I could be ousted, and that would not be good. Ooh. So they're starting to think about it. I think they feel that as they look around, and I continue to tell people, listen, people get mad. Like, well, it should be about the truth. And this is why the Republicans fail. You're getting Democrats now that are saying, no, I don't know if I can do this. Why? Because of the truth or because of their job? Right? It's their job that they're looking at. We've said it over and over again. At the end of the day, they care about a singular thing, and that singular thing is their job. Yeah. So you can go out and say, oh, how do you want to be remembered? What about this? What about that? You can say all of those things. But if you're sitting there and you're saying to yourself, I got a wife or a husband, I got kids, I worked my butt off to get here, and now I'm going to have to go back in the private sector. We're going to have to uproot. I mean, you start going through all of these. I mean, there's things that are popping in your mind all the time. What's it going to be like, and how's this going to... They're enjoying this. They like what they're doing, right? So you can say, well, the Republicans are evil and they're not looking at the truth, or the Democrats are overreaching, but at the end of the day, every person has to do what's best, not for the people in this situation, but what's best for them. Because as human beings, and I think we forget that they're human beings, they're still going to do what's best for them. That's the reality of politics, especially modern politics. So they're going to make the choice that serves them the best, not the people, even at this point, probably not even the party, but themselves. I can't blame them for it. Most human beings work that way. Today, you're at work, have an opportunity to do something, but you realize it may go wrong and you could be fired, and you look around and you say, I like what I do. My life's pretty good. I'm going to do what's best for me. And that's what it's all about. It's not about truth. It's not about, we need to worry about the truth and this is, how do you want to be remembered? It's not about that stuff. It's about, what's best for me? How's this affect me? Because if it affects me negatively, I'm not going to do it. Right? There's this romanticism of sacrifice, right? There's this and there are some politicians that look at this and, it's like John McCain. Everybody romanticizes John McCain as the maverick. Why? Because he went against his own party a few times. In this day and age, that's huge, right? That's a maverick because he thought outside the box. He did his own thing. Very few people do those things. Very few people fall on a grenade. You go look at all politics across the board. Take out even this situation. Look at the things in the political world that need to be dealt with. But we talked about it on a million occasions, and we'll talk about it again. You have to have a certain sense of, I'm doing this. This is the hill I'm standing on. This will probably cost me my political career, but this is something that needs to be done because it's the right thing to do. Very few people have that. We overthink and we give too much thought process into these people are doing it for the right reasons, for the Constitution. Oh, my God, they're individual human beings who do it for themselves. That's it. And they're going to do what's best for them, both the Republicans and the Democrats. What's best for their base, what keeps them in power, what raises them money, what keeps them in power. That's the truth. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Love hearing from every single one of you. I just, I look at this again today and I say to myself, this is the thing where you stand back and you say, if you really want to get a look at politics, because people will tweet at me, people will text at me, and they'll say, well, the Republicans do this, and they're ignoring this, that, and the other. And I say, well, Democrats are starting to turn, too. There are several of them who are making noise that we shouldn't do these kind of things. So what about them? Well, they're worried about losing their jobs and their positions. There you go. That's what it's all about. Start to understand that, and then just let it flow.
Whether you like President Trump or not, it doesn't matter. This is serious as 4 heart attacks and a stroke now. What happened with these rogue agents under Mr. Comey's FBI cannot stand. We asked Mr. Horowitz today, well, are the agents gone? Many of them are still there. We don't know whether they're still in charge of FISA applications. I said in committee today, it's easier to divorce your spouse than get fired around here.
Yeah. And he's right. The more I'm reading through some of these things, just how ridiculous some of this stuff was. And I kept coming back last night. So we had a Christmas party that went to last night, holiday party, whatever people want to call it. And and then I get in and it's late, but I'm like, I got to work. I got a lot of stuff to do. I'm starting preparing and I'm reading through some of these things. And it all kept coming back to me. It's like, did anybody get fired for any of these things? Like, for people changing, Carter Page worked for the FBI, didn't work for well, I'll just change it to whatever is necessary. I mean, did anybody get fired? Did anybody pay the price? You're leaving out things. You're going in. I mean, did anybody? But no, in government, they don't, right? Go back and look at all of the things from the VA debacle, right, to the IRS thing, to God knows everything in between. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. Getting fired is virtually impossible. All they do is they take a page from the world of the Pope and the Catholic Church and just move you around places. But getting rid of you, no.
Director Wray needs to step up and fire them. The FBI is the premier law enforcement agency in all of human history. But Mr. Comey's rogue agents have hurt that institution badly. And Director Wray's got to fix it. And he's got to start by cutting these agents off like a dead stump. At a minimum, do what would happen to them in the private sector and fire them. And carefully consider criminal referral for all those who deserve it.
And I think that's a real thing. But no, nobody's going to get fired. Nobody's going to get in trouble for this. None of this stuff's going to happen. But I think it's a fair question to ask. And while they're running around celebrating, oh, look, told you there was no bias. No, but there was a lot of horrific things that you did. So you shouldn't celebrate that. You shouldn't celebrate all the times you stomped on the Constitution, all the times your people bent over backwards and did insane things, all the time. I mean, just if you were watching that yesterday, any part of that, heard any part of Horowitz's stuff about the IG, take away the deep state and the baloney there. Look at the actual just what they did, how they went about doing things and surveilling people like Carter Page and all of this stuff and how this stuff was. Look at this. And you got to say to yourself, as an American, yeah, this stuff's uncomfortable. There was a problem here. So celebrate your quote unquote non-political bias. We were totally above board and everything, and start saying to ourselves, wow, we really screwed up. We made some serious mistakes along the way. We had some people that were just doing whatever the hell it seemed like they were doing. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Love hearing from every single one of you. Hope you have a good and wonderful day. Man, fun party last night. I was telling producer Phil, the Santa suit is the ultimate hashtag Me Too repellent. It's like, you sat on my lap. I was just sitting there talking to somebody else, and you came and sat on my lap. Oh, it was a lot of fun, though. I'm just saying. Throwing it out there. Had a good time. Treated great. We had a lot of fun. And, man, it's really interesting. You ever go, like, I don't know about you, Phil, like you've been to, I'm sure, a ton of these. Do you ever go to like some of these parties and, you know, for Christmas and they bring your spouse or whatever and you look at them and you're like, wow, you married up. Yep. Oh, my goodness me. It's fun to see people. It's fun to see people, man. And some people you're like, I don't hang out with you outside, and you can put them down. That's all I'm saying. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Wounded Paw, an amazing organization. Incredible organization. They rescue dogs, right? So they identify dogs in shelters, and then they rescue them, right? And they train them to be service dogs. So shelter dogs are service dogs. And they recognize the need that's out there. Take for instance, this time of year, right? It's the holidays, it's Christmas times. We've got so many veterans, first responders and their families who are struggling this time of year. And with all kinds of things, whether it's PTSD or physical, because of being wounded in the line of duty or serving our country. And these animals go so far in changing lives and the outlooks for our veterans, first responders, and their family. Their motto is save a paw, save a life. And right now they're looking for your help, and it's simple and easy. It's an easy thing to do with the gift of a vehicle. A lot of people out there have extra vehicles, right? And you're saying to yourself, I was going to trade it in. I don't even know what it's worth. You know what? Get a great tax-deductible gift and see what that little gift can do and how far it can go in changing lives. Simple and easy to donate. Go to woundedpawproject.org, woundedpawproject.org. They also take cash as well. So you can donate there or call 844-678-4PAW, 844-678-4729 or woundedpawproject.org. Chad Benson Show.
Take a fake news break. Check out the really important news of the day at our website, ChadBensonShow.com. Once there, click on Chad's free podcast and get real. The Chad Benson Show, where truth and the American way live. Print free.
Zealand police say the recovery attempt will go ahead, even though scientists believe another eruption on White Island is possible. Mark Inman is the brother of one of those missing.
It's not frustration that they can't get out to the island. It's more frustration that they haven't gone to the island. There's been two perfect opportunities to get out there, and we haven't gone. Red tape, bureaucracy, leadership has failed. We need them home.
The continuing volcanic activity cited for the delay. In addition to the bodies left on the island, dozens were severely burned by the blast of scalding steam and ash.
Yeah. Nobody. Here's the thing. It like you want everybody to go out there, but now they're talking about they're putting this at a very high probability of another explosion, and you don't even know because of the ash, because of all of that stuff, where you're looking. It's not like I think if you pinpointed where the bodies and it's horrible to say, but that's the reality of it is if you can even find them, because you got to remember they're probably buried beneath ash, right? And that's if there's even anything of them left because of the explosion, how hot. I mean, there's just so many different things that go into this. And it's nature. I mean, it sounds, we joke about it here, but the reality is nature will indeed mess you up. And not paying any attention and heeding warnings in a situation like this is what ends up taking place. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. With all of that going on, still trying to figure out what in God's name took place in New Jersey the other day.
The building targeted, say law enforcement officials, and that motive still being investigated. Documents found inside a stolen U-Haul driven by one of the suspects look to religious writings, and federal and state officials tell us that they hope to reveal to the public more of what they've discovered after poring over those documents all night long.
Yeah, I guess in one of the letters, they said that their creator made them do this, their God made them do this. It is, it's definitely anti-Semitic and a hate crime. And this black Hebrew Israelites They were a hate group. They've been labeled a hate group, and they've been known for all kinds of stuff, including having tons of sidewalk ministers who have this bizarre form of the way that they preach and theology. And they believe that the chosen ones are black, Native American, and Hispanic people, and everybody else is essentially against them. And they found some sort of manifesto, and they did find a bomb that they said was viable and was usable. And luckily, they did not use it, which is, again, it could have been so much worse. And we talked about yesterday how you go from being just a person who gets into something like this to the next thing you know, you and your loved one, your girlfriend, are out deciding, hey, today's the day I'm going to go blast a bunch of people. Crazy. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Hot and heavy, flirty dancing. Not names of horrible bands, although they should be. Talk about it straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
It's a little hard to believe that Burisma hired Hunter Biden to resolve their international disputes when he could not resolve his own dispute with Hertz Rental Car over leaving cocaine and a crack pipe in the car.
I would say that the pot calling the kettle black is not something that we should do.
That right there was Matt Gaetz of Florida, and Hank Johnson, he's a Democrat, who said, the pot calling the kettle black. And the reason for that is, first of all, Hunter Biden's talked about the fact that he's had drug issues and alcohol issues. I really don't care. I hope he gets over them. Okay? I do. I hope he gets over them, and that's the reality of that. But Matt Gaetz bringing that up is kind of odd. Right? Like, he was arrested for DUI charges, right? He was driving back from the Swamp. It's a nightclub, not the actual stadium that they call it. He's had tons of speeding tickets. How about this? He got, this is insane, some of the speeding tickets he's gotten that he's been popped for. There's just, it's one of those things where he got him dismissed, but why you do that? Like that's where and I'm going to say this, right? I've met him, I think, twice, Matt Gaetz. Little douchepalooza, I'm going to say it. This is what it comes across as me. Sorry. People offended out there. And some of his politics, I look at it like, he's done some stuff. Gay rights. He sponsored a bill in 2015. With a Democrat named Dave Richardson to repeal the ban on same-sex adoptions, and he is, there's things that he's done that I kind of like, but at the same time, that kind of stuff right there, that's what turns so many people off to politics. That's like a bad relationship. We're like, hey, you remember that thing that you did 15 years ago? I'm going to bring it up now. Even though it's not relevant to this. Well, it is relevant. It's not relevant. Whether he had a drug problem or not, he's over that drug problem. He's just talked about it before. Let's just move on. But that's where we are. That's the drama in this silliness. And so everybody feels that they feel like they have to, like, oh my God, I've got to go in and say something really strong to protect Yahweh. Right? And the other side's like, we got to do something really strong to go after their demigod so our God can win. And it's just like, you guys are all pains in the asses. Well, it does matter. No, it doesn't. Hunter Biden having issues with drugs doesn't matter, right? It doesn't at this point. At this point in time, it doesn't matter. But that's the craziness that we live in now. It's like we got to take this stuff up. He's been open about it. Everybody knows about it if you follow him. So we move on with ourselves. Why? Why'd you do that? And then you got hammered. If you're looking around, you're going, all right, if somebody's going to fire something like that here, you do it because you got nothing, right? You are just sterile and as clean as possible. You got nothing. Not that guy. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Should he or shouldn't he get a second chance? It's a fair question. Questions today that were being asked about Roger Goodell. First and foremost, they talked about Colin Kaepernick. Remember the whole Colin Kaepernick controversy. And Goodell was pretty straightforward.
As I've said to you before about creating an opportunity, which Colin's representatives came out in early October, and we created that opportunity. It was a unique opportunity, a credible opportunity, and he chose not to take it. I understand that, and, we've moved on here.
And for a guy that wants to play in the NFL, understand that I get why you don't trust the NFL. I got no problem with why you don't trust the NFL. But then wanting to play in the NFL, at some point in time, you were going to have to trust the NFL. Then you decided to do the umpteenth thing to shoot yourself in the foot. There's no reason for them to do anything else at this point in time. There's no reason. You've shot yourself in the foot. And the other thing they talked about was Michael Vick. So Michael Vick is going to be one of the co-captains for the Pro Bowl, the honorary captain. And, of course, Michael Vick, one of the long before what you see going on now in the NFL with the guy that I do believe is going to win Lamar Jackson, the MVP this year, there was Michael Vick. And then Michael Vick got into trouble. Bad trouble. Awful trouble with dogfighting. And now there's a petition with 600,000 signatures because the NFL wants him removed from the honorary captain's position. And Goodell answered that question.
We, over the last, 9 years or so, I've supported Michael in his, his recognition of the mistake that he made. He's paid a heavy price for that. He has been accountable for it. He's worked aggressively with the Humane Society and other institutions to deal with animal rights and to make sure people don't make the same mistake he made. And I admire that. I know that there are people out there who will never forgive him. He knows that. But I think this is a young man that has really taken his life in a positive direction, and we support that. So I don't anticipate any change, no.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm behind him 110%, and you have every right to have a disgust for what he did. Every right to have disgust for what he did with dogfighting. But he served his sentence. He's done a lot with animal rights, and he's out there talking about it, and he's done stuff. He's been an upstanding citizen in more ways than people realize. He had to file for bankruptcy. And rather than just file for bankruptcy and walk away, he paid back almost every single dollar he owed. And a lot of the reasons that he went bankrupt was the fact that he was supporting everybody. The judge says, I admire the fact that you want to take care of your family and friends because of where you came from, but you just can't be everything to everybody or you'll be nothing. And he had to make those decisions. And he paid back almost every dollar he owed. He has done some bad things. He'll readily admit that, doesn't shy away from it. But in a world where we scream of cancel culture, but at the same time, the people who want to cancel everybody also want people to get second chances. It's the pick and choose thing. And granted, it's animals and kids. Producer Anthony and I were talking about. He's like animals and kids, very much so. Animals and kids. But I think he's done enough. And in this cancel culture, they're coming. And when one of the ways you cancel culture is you stand up to it. Because eventually, right, cancel culture gets bored because some other new thing's going to come along in minutes that needs to be canceled. And once they realize they can't get you to do something, they leave. And I think this is good standing up to him. I think it is. And you know, I watch him a couple times a week when he's on with Colin Kaepernick, and I like Colin's show, and guy knows his stuff. And again, he has turned his life around. And if we want to, you know, it's so weird the way that we want to pick and choose who we don't like, who we do like, why we like it this way. This person can say something, it's okay. That person, we got to get rid of you. And no, I'm a guy that's, you know what, you got to live in the now and forgiveness. And I think he's paid his price. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. I don't know how much, you know, I'm looking at this settlement here with Weinstein and who's paying for what. Now some people say, I don't know if I really want any of that. But, you know, I mean, sometimes you have to say, like, you know, are you going to sue till, you know, he's not Michael Vick. As mad as Michael Vick was, I don't think Harvey's paying everybody back, even if he files for bankruptcy. So if you're suing because you want something, at some point in time, do you say, I got to take it because this is all I'm going to get?
Weinstein and his former company agreeing to settle claims with dozens of women who've alleged sexual misconduct against the disgraced movie mogul for $47 million. ABC News has learned the deal will not require Weinstein to admit any wrongdoing or pay anything to his accusers himself. The payouts instead coming from insurance companies representing Weinstein's former studio, the Weinstein Company.
Yeah, which they paid a lot into it, and people are starting to look and say, well, hold on a second. Well, you know, I don't know if I want that, because they're putting some money in the thing where it's going to be holding till later. And a lot of that. And here's the thing, for a lot of people, some people just want it over. You know what? You're going to give me $500,000. I'm going to go away. At this point in time, I'm done. But there are other people that want to see it through. And the one thing they want is they want that admission that you did something.
Several of his alleged victims have rejected the payout, claiming it's unfair. As for Weinstein, no comment on this proposed settlement, but he continues to deny any allegations of non-consensual sex.
Yeah, and like with Epstein, right? His brother, who handles his estate, is willing to settle with people, but one of the things that he wants is he wants them to sign something that essentially says, I'll take this money, no further action, and he does not have to admit or, you know, that at any point in time that he was guilty of any of these things. And I understand while he's going through criminal trial that's something you don't want, right? You don't want to say, yeah, I did it. No, by the way, I'm going through a criminal trial. That's stupid. But I think a lot of people want to see this thing through. But at some point, do you say to yourself, he's not going to jail, because many of these people are going to get money, aren't getting a dime otherwise, and they have no recourse criminally. So do you take, hey, I'd rather have, you know, 20% of something than 100% of nothing and still not get any criminal justice? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Car Shield, great Christmas gift. Told my buddy Lloyd here, so I'm going to get you Car Shield for Christmas. The other day, he's like, I should get Car Shield. You know what he didn't do? He didn't get Car Shield. You know what he did do yesterday? Had to have his car taken somewhere, and he had to do it himself. Why? Because he didn't have Car Shield, and his car went, doesn't have a ton of miles. His car is perfect for it, too. It says in a warranty. It's 65,000 miles on it. It's got issues. Luckily, he has a car to borrow. Otherwise, what was he going to do? Ride shares? Silly. Nobody wants to do that. He had to do a rideshare to the Christmas party last night. It was hilarious. He's like, I was the weirdest rideshare person ever. It was like a motivational speaker. And I'm like, really? So your Uber guy's a motivational speaker? Interesting. It was just the whole thing was uncomfortable. Man, you don't want that. Car Shield gives you 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. And the shops you choose. He did know where he wanted to take it, but he still got to pay for it. You pay a small deductible. They get that person paid directly. Car Shield has helped over 1 million customers. They're ready to help you, and they've got everything for your budget, depending on what it is you need. You want something just specifically for the electronics in your car or for everything, they've got your cover, repair, handle. Call them today, 800-CAR-6000. Mention code Benson or visit carshield.com and use code Benson. That saves you 10% right there. 800-CAR-6000, code Benson, or carshield.com, code Benson saves you 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
I deserve love because of what I looked like. 329.2.
My mom told me that it would be difficult to find love if I was heavy.
I think every girl hopes they're going to get a hunky husband, so I totally hit the jackpot.
I absolutely love Kristen's size. I wouldn't mind if she was a little bit bigger.
Adriana is the hottest woman I've ever seen in my life.
How do I look?
You look amazing. I love every inch of Joy. There's a lot of inches to love.
Yeah, because they're huge. One of them walks in. She's like, how do I look? I'm like a tent. Like somebody tented my house. Was that wrong, Phil? But funny. That felt. I don't even know anymore sometimes. Like, that crossed the line? Felt like it. Yeah, and it's creepy, right? You know, is it a fetish? Is it this, that, and the other? And look, guys like curves. At some point, we've passed curves, right? Like, we've at some point, you've gone, like, we're past the curve. You know, we're past, like, it's unhealthy. But this is a new show. It's called Hot and Heavy, with the emphasis on heavy.
We're just two people that are different sizes, and I don't feel like there should be a stigma behind it.
Who seems to be the most offended by us together seems to be conventionally attractive women. I think they're just like,
jealous.
How that big girl get that hunky guy?
Is it a sexual thing? I knew it was going to be us versus the world, and it's like very difficult.
If you want a child, you should have the gastric bypass surgery.
I'm not down with surgeries and all that.
You just want to keep me fat.
They're huge. There's a couple of them in this that I'm telling you are massive. You 329, there's one. She's got to be, and these guys are good-looking dudes, right? And like their buddies are trying to get them to date other women and stuff. And look, if that's who you love, I got no problem with it. It's the celebration of this, like, you know, Jillian Michaels got hammered this week because she came out and said, you know, we've like made this thing where you're overweight, and not just like, you know, you're 30 pounds overweight. It was like this, you were 300 pounds, so just deal with it. Like morbid obesity, just, you know, and we've made this PC thing where you can't say anything about it. You can't talk. And if you do, you're fat shamed, you this, that, and the other. It's wrong. It is. There's, yeah. You know, at some point in time, you got a problem. You got to deal with it. You do. And it cost a ton, not just medically. It cost a ton to employers and to, I mean, just across the board. But you can't, there's just certain things you can't say, right? Like you said, I'm going to say it. It's not good. It's not healthy. She's right. Right? Well, it's easy for her to say. No. Look, it's people like her and the Charlize Therons in the world and the Brad Pitts. Those are genetic anomalies. That ain't happening for 99%. But you get to the point where I can't tell, you've lost even the opportunity to have a chin, right? It goes your eyes, your nose, your lips, and then there's feet. I mean, at some point in time, come on. Just being a jerk. No, just being honest. Right? I'm sure all of us could lose 20 pounds. I'll raise my hand. But you know what? Try to eat pretty good. Work out every single day. But, man, 400 pounds, 500 pounds, celebrating it, yeah, that's what we do. We can't do anything other than that. Why? Because that's what we have to do with everything now. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us your love, your hate, your weight. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.